NCSoft announced its first alpha playtest for Master X Master, Guild Wars 2 teases its third and final raid instance and boss, Paragon reveals its newest hero and its open beta release date, and Funcom gives us some pre-alpha gameplay footage for their new survival MMO. What's happening, guys? James Blon here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending June 13th, 2016. Starting out the news this week, we see the new patch notes released for Smite called Dwarven Corruption, introducing the latest god Fafnir, the Lord of Glittering Gold. Now, the cool part about this Guardian's kit is that his ultimate changes his stance and essentially empowers all of his abilities afterwards. And by ultimate, I mean he turns into a giant dragon, which in itself is pretty cool. Seeing that he's the Lord of Glittering Gold, he gains 4 bonus gold from all the kills and assists he's involved in, including minions and structures. And he gains protections based on the amount of gold he's currently holding. But that's definitely not the only unique feature. One of his abilities, Coerce, allows Fafnir to persuade his allies to fight harder, boosting their attack speed while healing Fafnir. That same ability allows Fafnir to do additional magic damage to enemies as long as his buffed allies are doing damage to enemies. Needless to say, he's got a pretty advanced kit, and there's a lot to go over. That's just his abilities without using his ultimate. Check out the new skins, the 3.10 patch notes, and the god overview for Fafnir, all at the site posted at MMOHuts.com. Also from Hi-Rez, I mentioned last week the teaser reveal for Bomb King, the new champion in Paladins, and this week we get a little bit more teased. So I have to admit I was wrong. Bomb King is not the master of knives and stabbing weapons like I was sure he was given his name. Apparently he uses bombs of various types to kill chickens and probably other champions. Totally wouldn't have guessed that. Okay, so I know Paragon has been in the news a lot lately, but this week there's quite a lot on Paragon alone. First up, we've got yet another badass-looking hero, Khaimera, a fighter hero wielding 2 axes that likes to hide out in the jungle and leap out at his prey, according to the new trailer. I've got to say, though, the intro to this new teaser can give you the chills. Just remember, it's not the man you have to fear.
It's the beast.
Beyond that, the recent patch introduces draft mode, so now players will join a lobby first and be able to create a team comp together. You'll even be able to see what the enemy team is picking at this point, which is kind of interesting. Lots of other changes other than that. It seems like Kalari has been overhauled a little bit to be even more scary and pest-worthy. The minion waves are now smaller, with only 4 minions per wave, but they are, in fact, stronger and a bit more dangerous. They've also changed the way upgrading works, so that way you no longer have to upgrade your basic attack, and abilities upgrade 4 times while the ultimate upgrades 3 times. I guess they got that evened out that way. Inhibitors no longer respawn, which is good, and only produce 1 super minion leading a pack of regular minions once destroyed. And the coolest news so far is Paragon will be moving into a free open beta on August 16th, allowing even more PC and PlayStation 4 players to join the battle. With this announcement, they've also introduced an Essentials bundle for the PlayStation 4 that gets you over $150 worth of content for $60. This gives you back your $60 in cash out currency, 5 skins, 5 Hero Master Challenges, and 5 rep boosts. The only weird thing about this is I'm not really sure why it's just for PS4, seeing that the accounts are in fact linked and the game is cross-platform. So I don't know if you buy this on the PS4 and you can get these features on the PC once you've linked your accounts. I'm not sure. Either way, it's an alternative to the Founders Packs option with even more cash shop currency, more skins, but at the same time less masteries for the same price. So once again, the game goes open beta, free for everyone on August 16th, and the new hero, Khaimera, heads to the game on June 21st. Well, it looks like Heroes of the Storm is trying to step up its competitive factor, introducing a revamped ranked play that's divided into 7 tiers instead of the 50 ranks that were there prior. Now you've got Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Master, and Grandmaster, and these are broken up by 5 divisions themselves. Moving up in these divisions will require a total of 1,000 rank points, with each match win rewarding around 200, just to give you a reference. With this, they're adding in Seasoned, each starting with a series of 10 placement matches that will determine a player's initial rank, and each season will last between 8 and 12 weeks, depending on the community feedback, and will boast some kind of nice rewards. The new rank play kicks off in all regions on June 14th this week. For more details, check out the site post linked in the description below. And finally, for a last bit of MOBA news anyway, NCSoft announced its first playtest for Master X Master. This first closed test they are calling Alpha Playtest 1 will run from June 24th through the 27th. You can already sign up for the MxM newsletter, which will give you a chance to be chosen for the test. Otherwise, the announcement suggests finding giveaways to streamers and places like MMOHuts.com for key giveaways starting on June 21st. This playtest will focus on the selection of masters, definitely not all of them, and game modes, primarily 3v3 and 5v5 PvP, with PvE stages to test out as well. Keep an eye out at MMOHuts.com for giveaways and more details as they become available. Speaking of closed beta tests and key giveaways, KOG Games announced the second closed beta test for HeroWarz this past week, which is scheduled for June 21st through the 24th. This one seems to be a little bit more open to the public, a stress test if you will, so it's a good chance you'll be able to get in if you just register. And if you were in the first closed beta test, you're definitely able to participate as well. Otherwise, we'll probably have a few keys to give you guys, so don't worry about that. This test will also be opening the access to the game to more countries, like most European countries, and introducing new events, adjustments to the gameplay, and some other nice surprises, according to the official press release. Keep your eyes peeled. Once the second closed beta ends, the HeroWarz team plans to move very quickly towards the next phase, whatever that might be. Next up, Guild Wars 2 presents a teaser for the Stronghold of the Faithful, the third and final wing of its first raid instance and its first boss. In this, players will enter the Stronghold of the Faithful and discover the sinister purpose of the White Mantle Enclave, and the teaser here reveals the first boss, the Keep Construct. A few other videos introduced last week include art and concept design work on the new Keep Construct, which definitely looks good now that it's gone through a couple of different iterations. But I also have a feeling we'll have even more details on this when we meet up with NCSoft at E3 this week. Look forward to that. And on that note, sort of out of the blue, Wildstar made its way over to Steam this past week, offering several Steam bundles with a sizable discount to welcome new players and returning players. Now, to be honest, I think this was actually a really good move on their part. The game has been live on Steam for almost a week now, and the reviews are very positive. Hopefully they can keep that going and attract more players. Even more news from NCSoft with the new teaser trailer for Lineage II and its upcoming expansion Helios. According to the site page, the Helios expansion introduces the new Dreadnought Superion Zone, a structure that is floating in the sky of Giran for players level 102 and up. Remember, there's no level cap in the game. 3 new raid bosses, 5 new factions that help you become stronger with various special abilities, and new skills on top of that. Check out the teaser trailer and link to the info page at the site post at MMOHuts.com. Otherwise, the new expansion launches on June 29th. Last week I mentioned the new expansion announced for Neverwinter, but along with that comes the launch of its most recent update with the label The Maze Engine, Guild Alliances, bringing with it quality of life improvements, including new features for guilds and their strongholds, plus the new Sword Coast Chronicles campaign. With the release of this update, guilds of all sizes can form alliances with one another to strengthen their strongholds, and the new update to the current stronghold system lets larger guilds team up with smaller guilds to level them up faster, while allowing both parties to earn better rewards as an incentive to do so. The new Sword Coast Chronicles helps guide players towards in-game campaigns, completing heroic deeds along the way. So this isn't exactly a huge update, more or less a nice content patch add-on to their 9th expansion, the Maze Engine. This new update is already live for PC and Xbox One, and will be available on the PS4 at a slightly later date. Also from Perfect World, Star Trek Online's newest expansion, Agents of Yesterday, is expected to launch next month on July 6th. The game's 3rd expansion celebrates the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, the original series, by taking players back in time to command era-appropriate ships to explore the galaxy, bringing back iconic characters from the original series. With this, we also see 5 new playable starships, along with the classic Enterprise Constitution-class starship. Sounds like a really cool commemorative expansion, if you ask me, and these are just a couple of its features. Head over to the site post for plenty more. Next up, Aeria Games gives us a little bit more info on its new X-Legend MMORPG, Twin Saga. This time around, we see the class introductions revealing its 10 available classes at launch, 4 of which are base classes, and 6 are unlockable somehow. In the new trailer, we see the Swordmaster, the Dragon Knight, the Mage, and the Gunslinger as the 4 starting classes, the Paladin, the Cleric, the Hunter, the Rogue, the Berserker, and the Occultist as the 6 that you get to unlock later somehow, however that may work. Seeing that you can swap classes at any time while playing, it's kinda nice to have 10 to choose from the get-go. Like I said in the past, it won't be too long before we see access to this game and try it out, and then we can look forward to Bless after that. Also last week, Funcom, with some help from Nvidia, showcased some pre-alpha gameplay for their new open-world survival game, Conan Exiles. Taking place in the Conan the Barbarian universe, you are an exile, outcast, sentenced to walk in the barbaric wasteland where the weak are crushed and the strong survive. Think H1Z1 plus maybe a mild version of Path of Exile in third person, I would say. First, you've got to survive the environment, and if you can do that, well, then you can march forth into battle and wage war against your enemies to bring down their walls and cities and possibly replace them with your own. I've got to say, the pre-alpha here looks pretty sweet visually, but then again, they are working with Nvidia on this one, so it's kind of expected. Early access on PC is set to start September 13th later this year. Definitely looking forward to this one now. On a similar note, in case you're interested, Landmark, which is sadly no longer called EQ Next Landmark for obvious reasons, showed up in the news this past week with an official launch trailer. The game has launched. Clearly the game has changed quite a bit, but it still seems to have its nice creative side. Not really sure what is or isn't in the game anymore. I've kind of stopped following it after Daybreak made it buy to play after dropping EQ Next, which I'm still really sore about. So now you can pick up the game for its standard price of $9.99, which is actually a little less expensive than it was when it was in early development under SOE. I guess I give them some credit. The game was never actually free to play. It was just originally announced that way. Also on the buy play front, and our last bit of news for the week, Lawbreakers announced its first public alpha test, which went on this past week, June 6th and 8th, for very special select players, but is leading up to its closed alpha tests, along with an alpha development roadmap revealed by Cliffy B on Twitch recently. So at the moment, the studio is hosting a series of small pre-alpha tests to prepare the servers for the upcoming closed alpha, and we should get our hands on at E3. No announcements as to when the closed alpha starts, but they are planned to continue throughout the summer with availability limited but scaled as part of the ongoing plan to stress test the servers and add in more content. They've also been releasing more and more spotlight videos for different types of playable characters in the game as a way to get players hyped, and it's kind of working. Check out those videos at the site posted at MMOHuts.com. But anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Bakerman Brad and I are headed to E3, and we're going to bring you guys the best coverage ever, so look forward to that. Like always, if you're looking for more information regarding the news and the recap, check the links in the description below. Otherwise, hang out at MMOHuts.com for the latest in gaming news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.